Hi guys, Mr Popple here. Today I'm going to be teaching you a quick maths lesson. We are going to be learning all about equivalent fractions. So the first thing I'm going to do is remind you of what the term equivalent means. Equivalent means that it is equal to or the same as. Fractions means that it is part of something whole. Now, an equivalent fraction is two separate fractions that have the same size value, however, they have different numbers. It sounds confusing, so I'm going to give you some examples. Here are some examples of equivalent fractions. As I said previously, equivalent fractions are fractions that have the same size value, however, they have different numbers. All of these different fractions are equivalent to 1/2. That is demonstrated by the first picture showing that there are only two pieces and half of the whole shape is coloured in. On the second picture, there are two sections out of 4 shaded in. However, as you can see, there is still half of the entire shape covered. Similarly for 3/6 and 4/8. Now you might have noticed a pattern. The pattern is that the numerator, the number on the top, is always half the amount of the denominator, the number on the bottom. That is the case for when you are finding equivalent fractions of a half. Right, now that I've shown you an example of equivalent fractions, I'm going to show you a method to work out equivalent fractions without having to use a diagram every time. Now, to do this, I'm going to use a quarter as my example. So my numerator needs to be a number 1 and my denominator needs to be a number 4. Now, there's a rule when you're finding equivalent fractions. The rule is that you can only find them by multiplying or dividing. In this case, I'm going to start by multiplying. When I am multiplying my fraction, I need to make sure that I'm doing the same thing to the numerator that I am doing to the denominator. It's important that I do this because when I'm timesing it by a number, if I am timesing the numerator and the denominator by the same number, then I will end up with an equivalent fraction. In this case, I'm going to use number 2 as my example. So in this case, 1 times 2 is 2. So my new numerator is going to be the number 2. Whatever I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom. So I'm going to times my 4 by 2 as well. So my new denominator is going to be 8. Therefore, 1/4 is equal to 2/8. That means that these are equivalent fractions. Now, the number 2 has a special name. That is called a factor. The factor has to stay the same when you are doing this. However, it doesn't matter what the factor is. For example, if I was to use a quarter again, with my 1 on the top for my numerator and the 4 on the bottom for my denominator, I'm then going to times it by 3 this time. So my factor is going to be 3. 1 times 3 is 3, so my new numerator is going to be 3. And 4 times 3 is 12, so my new denominator is going to be 12. We now know that 1/4 is equivalent to both 2/8 and 3/12. Now, as I said before, the factor can be any number, but you need to do the same to the numerator as you are doing to the denominator. That is how you find an equivalent fraction. Now I've shown you how to work out equivalent fractions without having to use a diagram. I'd like you guys to have a go at home. My job for you is to find 3 equivalent fractions for 1/3, 1/5, and a tricky one, 3/8. Don't forget, all you need to do is keep your factor the same, and whatever you are doing to the numerator, you need to do to the denominator as well. As long as you remember that, you'll end up with lots of equivalent fractions and you'll have no problems at all. It's not long now until we're back in school, guys. I've seen lots of hard work going on and I appreciate all of it. Don't forget, you can still earn rewards and prizes and dojos for completing your jobs at home just as you would in school. So until next time, guys, bye.